All right, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. So today, as I said on Google Classroom, we're going to go through homework number 119 together. And these are actually the same instructions as the last homework, 118. But for these questions, 27, 29, 30, these are going to be these are going to end up being degenerate conics. So I'm going to give you some time to work on it if you haven't yet already, just to get some practice with it. So let's say 7 minutes, so we'll reconvene at 11:20, and then from there I'll go through the solutions with you. Yes, Leo, question?
Yeah. So when I was doing the homework, um, like most of the time the equation would equal to zero. So that like when it's equal to zero, that means it's degenerate, right?
Yes. When it equals zero or a negative number, then it would be degenerate. Well, let me clarify. So like if you end up like completing the square as we did in class, and like follow that format of like you get into like x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is zero or a negative number, for example, for an ellipse or a degenerate ellipse, that would be, yeah, degenerate. Okay. Okay. But yeah, just in case you haven't started yet, I'll give you some time to work on it. So try to finish the first problem, 27, and then again at 11:20 we'll reconvene to um, yeah, go through the solutions. All right, if you just came in, we're working on homework 119 here, and we'll reconvene at 11:20. So just try to finish at least 27 on your own, and then we'll go through the solutions. Okay, so let me pause you here. I'm going to change the screen share to the solutions. Okay, here is 27. So here we have x squared plus 16 equals 4 times y squared plus 2x. And I'm going to multiply through, right? Because, our goal is to still complete the square. And then to get it into, or try to get into standard form of a conic section. So I'm going to multiply through by 4. You get 4y squared plus 8x. From there, I'm going to multiply, subtract 4y squared from both sides. And then I also subtract 8x from both sides. So just gathering the variables and then subtracting 16 from both sides. So yeah, just rearranging the terms. From there, I complete the square. So you take -8, the linear coefficient, divide that by 2, and you square it, you get 16. And you add 16 to both sides, right? So you're gonna end up with 0 on the right. And then on the left, you can factor this to be x minus 4 squared minus 4y squared. And then from there, you divide by 4 to get into, standard form of conic, right? And, this would be a degenerate hyperbola, right, because of the x squared minus y squared terms. But yeah, we're going to divide by 4 to get into like x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals something. In this case, it's 0, so it's degenerate, right? If it was 1, that would be a quote-unquote like regular hyperbola. But as it is, it's not actually hyperbola because it equals 0. Okay. That being said, we can still graph this equation. So from there, I'm going to add y squared to both sides. You get this. I multiply through by 4, and then I take the square root of both sides. You get plus minus parentheses x minus 4 is 2y. And then I divide both sides by 2, you get this. And here you can see that this is going to be a pair of lines. Okay. So as it is, you get y equals x over 2 minus 2, right? Because the plus parentheses x minus 4 divided by 2, that's x over 2 minus 2. And then for the negative option, you have negative x plus 4 divided by 2. So that's negative x over 2 plus 2. So that's the other line. And then for the graph, you just graph these two lines. Right here's the y-intercept for x over 2 minus 2. Slope is 1/2. So for every 2 units to the right, you go 1 up. But yeah, the x-intercept is going to end up being 4 here. And then for the other line, the y-intercept is 2. And the slope is -1/2. So for every 2 units to the right, you go 1 unit down. And yeah, you get the same x-intercept of 4. But yeah, this is what the graph will look like for this equation, 27. Okay, does anyone still need 27 here? All right, if not, then I'm going to scroll down to 29. All right, here's 29. All right, would anyone like to explain the solution here? Okay. All right, if not, then I'll explain it. Oh, yeah. Who's volunteering? We'll go to Seth. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So you want to manipulate the equation so it's like in a form easy to factor and complete the square of. So you can move the negative 6x to the left side and the plus 4y squared to the right side. And then you factor 3x squared minus 3x, taking the 3 out, and you can factor 4y squared minus 24y, taking the 4 out. So you can complete the square. Since you have to add b over 2 square, you add 1 to the left side, plus 9 to the still to the left side, and then on the right side you get negative 39 plus 3 plus 36. If you add everything together and factor out x squared minus 2x plus 1, you get 3x minus 1 squared plus 4 times y minus 3 squared equals 0. Since you can divide everything, so you have conic form, and since it's equal to 0, you have a degenerate conic. And the only point that's a solution for the equation is 1 over 3. 1, 3.
Okay, thank you for that. So yeah, this graph here, right? The only point coordinate that is true for this equation is 1 comma 3, as I had said, right? Like, so yeah, that's going to be the graph. It's just going to be 1 point. Okay, 1 comma 3. If you remember the video from yesterday, right? That's like where the ellipse became just a point. So right, this is a degenerate ellipse, right? Because we have x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is 0 in this case, right? But yeah, this ended up being a point as consistent, with the video from yesterday. Okay. I think yeah, there's just one thing I wanted to mention. I think well, I think all the terms were on the left side already, and then all we did from the first step was subtract 39. So yeah, just wanted to clarify that part. But yes, thank you for explaining that. Here's 29. I'll give you some time to copy, and then lastly we'll go on to 30, which is ended up being pretty short because there's no graph. Okay, does anyone still need 29? Okay. Well, actually, I can leave them here. But 30 is the last question, and do we have any volunteers to explain this one? This one is 4 steps. There's no graph. Okay. If not, then I'll explain it. So yeah, we're just gonna gather like terms. So just put all the x terms together and the y terms together, and then I subtract 300 from both sides. So you get this. From there, I complete the square. So you take the linear coefficient for x, you get 20 divided by 2. You square that, you get 100. And then we add that to both sides. And then for the y terms, I first factor out 4. You get 4 times y squared minus 10y. And then to complete the square, you take negative 10, the linear coefficient, negative 10 divided by 2. You square that, you get 25. But remember, you have to add 4 times 25 to both sides, right? So you add 100 to the right-hand side as well to keep the equality of the equation. For step 3, you're going to factor. So you get x plus 10 squared plus 4 parentheses y minus 5 squared is negative 100. And at this point, you should realize that something is wrong, right? Like here you have two square terms and they equal a negative number, right? Negative 100. But this equation is not going to be true for any number xy, right? Because the lowest value that this x plus 10 squared, this is a parabola, right? The lowest value that this can be is 0, right? Because if you plug in x is negative 10, that'll be the vertex, or the x-coordinate of the vertex. And then you get negative 10 comma 0, right? And then for this expression, 4 times y minus 5 squared, the lowest value that can also be is also 0. Okay, all right. So yeah, this is not going to have a graph since there are no coordinates that satisfy this equation. All right, the sum of these two terms has to be non-negative. It has to be 0 or positive. Okay. Yeah, that's 30. No graph for 30. Okay. But yeah, while you finish copying this, I'll close with announcements. First, there is SGI today, per usual, 247. And secondly, our next and final quiz of the year. So congrats for making it this far. Our next and final quiz will be next Friday. I will send out the topics list over the weekend. But yeah, that'll be next Friday on the 18th. Okay. But yeah, that is all I wanted to say for today. If you're done copying this and you have no further questions, you're free to go, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, thank you too.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you too.